So welcome back to All This Math. This is Professor Parker, and today we're going to get into some word problems. But before we get into that, I do want to give a shout out to Matt Pressberry, good brother from Baltimore, the founder of the Black Fathers Foundation. Good brother, even though he went to City, but I won't hold that against him. But in all seriousness though, I saw this T-shirt. They were selling these T-shirts, and I saw the design, and I said I definitely need one of these. Because it definitely speaks to like my concept of fatherhood and whatnot. And also this ties into the reason, another reason I'm wearing this t-shirt while I'm doing this video is because it ties into one of the initiatives of All This Math as a company. What we're trying to do is help fathers to be able to just provide homework help. So that fatherhood, among the many things we do as fathers, among them protecting our children and providing for our children, one of the things that we definitely should also be able to provide our children, if we're not already, is educational development and educational support in all the subjects, specifically math being one of the subjects, and math being one of the subjects that a lot of people have a lot of challenges with. So I'm definitely pushing forth the idea that parents, not just fathers, but mothers too, should be able to help their children with homework. And if they're not able to, that's one of the benefits of this channel, this YouTube channel. So when your children come home from school with homework, and they show you that homework, and it looks like that, what we call new math, and it looks a little different because it's like, we ain't do multiplication like that 40 years ago. Or we ain't do division like that 20 years ago. I don't understand this. I have a lot of videos on here that can help you to understand the way math is being taught now to your children. So therefore, you don't got to feel helpless to provide that for them. You know what I'm saying? So definitely tune in, subscribe to the channel. If you're not already, and turn on the post notifications, like the videos, subscribe, and share them with other people, so they can see what we're doing here at All This Math. All right. So now, at any rate, let's take a look at this problem. This is a typical word problem involving multiplication. It says to select the statement that represents 4 times 9 equals 36. All right. And these problems are kind of hard to go over sometimes. Like, they can be difficult because these are the type of problems that we may take for granted. So we may not really understand what our children don't understand when they see a problem like this. Because we just see it as, okay, yeah, 4 times 9 is 36. Whoop-de-doo. What's the big deal? Right? Just go through the choices and see which one matches up. But we don't know that a lot of things that we take for granted because we learned this 10 years ago, 20, 30, however many years ago, our children haven't developed that conceptual understanding as of yet. So let's go through and break this down like choice by choice. So we got choice A, B, C, and D. All right. So we want to read. I always tell students this: you got to be able to read and comprehend first before you even get into any math. Right? Read and comprehend first before you even get into any math. Right? So first, choice A: Jordan collected 4 dimes one year and 9 dimes the next year. Now, how do we translate that? We can translate this sentence into a mathematical statement. So we got 4 1 year, and this word "and" in this context means addition, So this is like saying 4 plus 4 dimes 1 year and 9 dimes the next year. So 4 plus 9. Choice A means 4 plus 9. And we know that 4 plus 9 is 13 altogether. So 4 plus 9 is 13. It's not the same as 4 times 9 equals 36. So this is why we know that A is wrong. And also, this is a test-taking strategy too, because what we're doing is we're doing process of elimination. That's what we're doing right now. This is process of elimination. So we're going through each choice one by one, and we're trying to see which one makes sense. So we know A don't make sense because A is addition. Because Jordan did something 1 year, and then he did something else another year, right? So 4 dimes plus, because the word "and" in this context means addition, because he did this in the 1 year and he did this in another year or the next year. So we add them together. Then we go to choice B. We read choice B. Choice B says Jordan collected 4 dimes each day for 9 years. So that's like a pattern or a rate. He was doing 4 dimes a day, right? Collecting 4 times a day, I should say, right? So, and he did this for 9 years. Now, you might think that that's multiplication. Now, it does represent a type of multiplication, but we got to be careful about the units because this says each day, right? But the amount of time altogether is years. So days and years are not the same thing. Of course, we know there are 365 days in 1 year. So if he did that each day, and he did it for 9 years, in order to find out what this represents, we first would have to do 4 times 365 times 9, right? Or 4 times 9 times 365. So each day, let's just say 4, each day we can call that times 365. Because if he's doing it each day, he's doing it 365 times, because it's 365 days in a year, in a calendar year on the Gregorian calendar that we follow in Western society, right? 365 days, right? So 4 times 365, but he did this 4 times 365 for 9 years. So then that's times 9. Like in this context, the word 4 means multiplication or represents multiplication. So this will be 4 times 365 times 9. So again, it's not equivalent to 4 times 9 equals 36, because that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the statement that means the same thing as 4 times 9 equals 36. But you see how we got to like really read the problem and really decode it and break it down and then convert it or translate it into a mathematical statement in order to really get to the answer. So then this is what you have to do with word problems. And this is why word problems are so important and so essential, because then we can read things and understand how math is involved in everything. And a lot of times people think math is irrelevant because oftentimes when we read things or when we expose the information, we don't know how to read that information and really understand and key in on all the math that is embedded within that information. So when you practice that enough, you develop that skill. So then you can start to gain another level of understanding when you can do that. All right, so let's cross off B, because we're still doing process of elimination, right? Let's go to choice C. Jordan collected 9 dimes a day over a 4-day period. 9 dimes a day over a 4-day period. So this is similar to choice B, 4 dimes each day. So 9 dimes a day, right? So initially I might want to say 9 times 365, but I'm not going to say that. You know why? Because this didn't happen over a year or over multiple years. This only happened over 4 days. So basically Jordan was doing this every day for 4 days. So I could say 9 times 4, and I know 9 times 4 is equal to 36, right? So that's the total number of dimes he collected in that time period, 36, right? But now you might be wondering, or your child or a student might be wondering, well, but this says 4 times 9 equals 36. So, but you wrote 9 times 4 equals 36. There's a rule in multiplication. And actually, it's a general rule in mathematics. It applies to multiplication and to addition. It's called the commutative property. The commutative property says that the order of the numbers don't matter when we're doing, it's not going to affect the product. In multiplication, it's not going to change the product. So if you change the order around and do 4 times 9, you're still going to get 36. It's kind of like if you do something, like if he collected 9 dimes a day for over a 4-day period, he would have the same amount of dimes as if he collected 4 dimes a day over a 9-day period. So that's like a real life breakdown of that. You know what I mean? It kind of like takes it out of the abstract a little bit. So 9 times 4 is the same thing as 4 times 9. And this is 4 times 9 equals 36. So this is proof that choice C is our correct answer. Choice C is our correct answer, right? Now, normally if this was a test scenario, we don't have all day on the test. So once you get to the right answer, you keep it moving, right? So we crossed off A, we eliminated B, we got to C. Normally we would keep it moving. But because this is an instructional video, we got a little bit of time, I'm going to go into and show why D is wrong also. Because that's another thing that's important. It's not only important to find out what your correct answer is, but it's also very important to know why the wrong answers are in fact wrong, because that helps us to gain a better understanding of the concept. It also helps us to better recognize when answers are not correct. So let's look at D. D says Jordan had a collection of 4 dimes and increased the number of dimes by 36. Increased the number of dimes by 36. Wait, it's something I wanted to say. He's a coin collector. Jordan is a coin collector. There's a word for that. In case you ain't know, it's called numismatist. numismatist. And coin collecting is called numismatics. Numismatics. I know this because I used to work for a coin company. I used to put ads in newspapers all over the country and have people calling. I used to do inbound sales. And then our job was to upsell them when they called in. It was classic bait and switch. It was a hustle, you know. But that was years ago. I don't get into that type of stuff no more. But numismatics is coin collecting. Stamp collecting is a stamp collector is a philatelist. All right, philatelist. All right. So now you know what a coin collector is. Jordan is a coin collector. And that's important too, because when we're dealing with word problems, it's better to have a good understanding of what's going on in the word problem. We want to know what's going on in the word problem so we can feel more comfortable with the word problem. So that way, once we feel more comfortable with the word problem, then when we get into the math, it's like the math is not as intimidating because we're just talking about something regular and something that we're comfortable with and that we know something about, right? So anyway, choice D. Jordan had a collection of 4 dimes and increased the number of dimes by 36. So, okay, good. Math language. I like this. So when you see and increased, that's a code word for addition. So that's 4 plus 36. So 4 plus 36. We know 4 plus 36 equals 40. Right? 4 plus 36 equals 40. And that's not the same thing as 4 times 9. All right. Now, this is said and increased the number of dimes by a factor. That's another thing. Keep that in mind. If you ever see that, by a factor of, that means multiplication. See, math is a language. Math is a language in and of itself. It has a lot of different terminology, a lot of abbreviations, a lot of terms that mean different things within different contexts and in different types of problems. It's got a lot of different symbols. And the best way to learn all of that is just by doing a lot of problems and getting a lot of practice, right? Because math is not really difficult if, number one, somebody shows you how to do it, right? And number two, after they show you how to do it, you practice it a whole lot. See, that's where a lot of people get caught up. A lot of people don't have nobody to show them how to do it in the first place, right? But then after they do have somebody to show them how to do it, then they don't get the practice, right? So after you finish watching this video, make sure you ask your teacher for more practice with problems like this, right? Or as a parent, ask your child's teacher for more practice problems similar to these kind of problems, or go online and do an online search of like elementary level or middle school level multiplication word problems, you know? But yeah, so 4 dimes and increased means addition, the number of dimes by 36. So that means 36. So 4 plus 36, which equals 40. So again, this 2 is not equivalent to 4 times 9 equals 36. All right. So that's that. And we showed why the correct answer is C, because him collecting 9 dimes a day over a 4-day period, that means he did 9 dimes times 4 because it was 4 days. That's going to give you 36. And in case you was wondering why I don't say 4 times 9 equals 36, well, that's because we wrote it like this, but we also understand the commutative property. The commutative property means that the order of the numbers or the factors in the mathematical equation, 9 times 4 equals 36, they don't have to be in that order. You can switch the order around and make it 4 times 9. Once you make it 4 times 9, now it matches up with our original equation that we started out with. All right, so I hope that helped. But as I said, go get some practice, ask your teacher, your professor, whomever, whatever class this is for more practice, so you can get some practice, so you can master this skill and really learn the language of mathematics. You got to learn the language, because notice how this is kind of like, a foreign language, like translating something from English to Swahili, or, if you study Medu Neter from ancient Kemet or something like that, it's very similar to that. Like, you see how it's written in English, and then you're thinking about, okay, well, if I wanted to put it into mathematical language, how would I write it? And you see how we kind of mark these expressions up, these answer choices up, and replace certain things with certain things, and we got symbols and all that. It's really the same way you would do it with, a foreign language. I remember like taking Spanish in high school, and we basically did the same thing. Like we would have a sentence in English, translate it to Spanish, write the Spanish words over top and whatnot, or go vice versa, have a sentence in Spanish, translate it to English, write the English words over top. And we're doing the same exact thing here. Right? So if we start to view math as a language and commit to learning the terminology, learning the vocabulary, learning all the symbols and everything, then it starts to become a lot easier. You know what I'm saying? So Go get some practice, and I'll catch up with you in the next video. And remember, father by nature, shout out to the Black Fathers Foundation. Peace.